What's going on, guys? It's Mus here, and before I start with the video, I want to remind you guys that if you're watching this video, there is a pretty good chance that you are not subscribed to the channel. So if you haven't already, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and also turn on your notifications so that you don't miss an upload. And also, if you do enjoy this video, please be sure to leave a like. It makes a big difference in helping this channel grow, and I would greatly appreciate it. So today in this video, I want to talk about a team that shocked a lot of people last year and made a lot of noise and were very fun to watch too. Also, I'm talking about the New York Knicks. They were a team that no one really expected to be as good as they were last season. They went 41-31, were the 4th seed in the East, just behind the Bucks, the Nets, and the Sixers, which was very, surprising with this team. But they were, really damn good, especially in that regular season. It was fun to watch because no one had expected it, right? Like, this team a year ago was at the bottom of the lottery, trying to figure out what they were going to do, what their direction was going to be. But then, things changed. They hired Tom Thibodeau, who was a very well-respected coach, and a culture changes there. And then these guys just continue to play well, and so many guys played well. And of course, if you're going to talk about the Knicks and how well these guys played, you have to talk about Julius Randle, because my God, he had an incredible season last year. Trying to find what his total numbers were. Let's see. I have no idea why I'm struggling here. Julius Randle had, I think it was, let's see. Okay, I found it. I don't know why my phone was having a hard time finding these stats, but yeah, Julius Randle had an incredible season. 24 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 57% true shooting percentage. His 3-point percentage went like super high, 41%, which was a huge jump from just 27% the year before. Like, he had an incredible season, and for it to happen with the Knicks was such a big thing because everyone was paying attention to it. The Knicks, obviously, they're the Knicks, right? They've been a joke for a very long time. The memes were there because of just how disorganized they were, how dysfunctional they were, and how bad the team was. But those jokes can't happen anymore, because after this past season, even though they lost the way they did in the playoffs, this team is one to pay attention to. Of course, it's disappointing when you get the 4th seed and you lose to the Hawks the way you did in the first round. I mean, Trae Young just dominated that series. It wasn't even fair, but still, the Knicks have a lot to be excited about. Julius Randle is, he's locked up. He got the extension that he wanted, and hopefully he's going to take another step in his game. I think he can. Obviously, the biggest thing is going to be just what else can he add to his game that he hasn't added already. He's already really good at all these things, so it's going to be very interesting to see what he does this season, because the leap that he can take is going to be something that we have to pay attention to. This Knicks team, man, I mean, Julius Randle is going to be a big X factor. He did not play well in those playoffs. That's the biggest thing, right? Like, everyone knows how good he is, but the playoffs are going to be what matters for this team. But yeah, I mean, looking at the rest of this roster, what are the biggest additions they made? Kemba Walker, man, I think that's a good addition. Of course, the biggest thing for him is just going to be health. He's an offensive guard, and you need more of that, especially, that's the biggest thing that we realized in the playoffs, because the defense was going to be there. They're a really good defensive team, and it's a Thibodeau team, right? Any team that he coaches is going to be at the top defensively, and the Knicks were no exception. They were incredible on defense, but on offense, they just couldn't get anything going in the playoffs. Now, that's credit to the Hawks for playing well against them, but also Randle was terrible in the playoffs. RJ Barrett couldn't get anything going. None of these guys could really do much, except for maybe Derrick Rose, and even he wasn't all that great, but he had to kind of carry a couple of those games and, be the starter. And that's a lot to ask for a 32-year-old guard. That's how it was. But I like what they did, because they added Kemba Walker, who obviously is a good offensive guy. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be really good for this team. Evan Fournier, I really like that addition, because he's a good wing guy who can get you some shots. It takes a little bit of the load off of Randle and Barrett, because you don't have to rely on them to get you all your shots. That's a big deal. Not having your star guy just kind of been carrying the whole thing. That's a big deal. But the guard depth on this team is going to be what's really interesting to me, because you have Kemba Walker, you have RJ Barrett, you have Derrick Rose, and then you also have Emmanuel Quigley. And that's the interesting thing with him is, I don't know what his development's going to look like, because my thought was going to be that he could be the starting point guard, but he is very young, and it's going to be interesting to see what he can do. But he showed a lot of promise last year, no question. But I mean, it's clear that he's still going to be probably a 3rd string point guard, maybe 2nd string. behind Derrick Rose, but it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with him because he's a bucket getter. Like, he'll come off the bench and hit some shots, and I feel like that's good for them. Obi Toppin, he wasn't great. I'm not super high on him, but still, he showed some flashes of what he could do. He could be, a pretty good guy in the low post who can help get you some shots or play some good defense. The biggest thing for this team is Mitchell Robinson. Hopefully, he's gonna be coming back. He showed a lot of how good he can be, and the biggest thing with him was just being injured, obviously. So hopefully he's healthy, and that's a damn good big man to have. And that front court with Randle and Robinson is going to be very lethal, especially with how incredible their defense is. I mean, looking at this team, they have a lot that I like. Nerlens Noel also, he stepped up big time when Mitchell Robinson was out. So I'm happy for him that he's going to be staying with the Knicks, despite the fact that his contract situation is kind of messed up and he sued Rich Paul, but that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I mean, overall, this Knicks team is something that I really like. Now, they got rid of Reggie Bullock. Not got rid of, but Reggie Bullock is gone. And, that might hurt because he actually was pretty good in the playoffs. He hit some shots. He actually scored a lot, especially in those first couple games against the Hawks. But I don't think you're going to miss him that much when you bring in Fournier. But yeah, I mean, just looking at this Knicks team overall, like, the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about in this video is where are they? And I basically just spent this whole video talking about the roster and the pieces I like. But in terms of what I can see this team doing next season, I don't know if they're going to be the 4th seed again, but then again, it's not impossible. They won 41 games in a 72-game regular season schedule. Could they win, what could they win in an 82-game schedule? 45 games or more? That is very possible with this team. And given how the East has been, that's the biggest thing for this team is the East got a lot better. And the competition that's going to be there is going to be really tough because I still think that this team is good enough to make the playoffs, but again, with all of the competition that's there in the East, I don't know where they would end up. Like, a lot of these teams are going to either barely make the playoffs or just make the play-in and then go from there, because the Knicks, the Celtics, the Bulls made a lot of moves. Like, these teams are going to be very competitive, and I'm going to be really interested to see how all these teams do. Teams like the Hawks, the Knicks, the Bulls, the Celtics, because they're all kind of fighting for playoff spots. And they're all good teams, so it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with that. But yeah, again, the Knicks, I still think they're going to be a playoff team. But are they going to be anything after that? Is their ceiling going to be any much higher other than maybe a first-round team? I don't know, because given how deep the East is, it's all going to be dependent on matchups, obviously. But, let's say the Knicks get the 6th seed. They'd probably have to play maybe Miami, maybe Philly. Like, that's tough. I don't know how, that's just tough, and if you go 7 or 8 seed and you're playing Brooklyn or Milwaukee, good luck. You're not going to beat those teams. But still, I like what this team is doing. I like the direction they're headed in because, again, the Knicks have been bad for so long. And for them to finally have a team that's like, okay, they're competitive, they're a playoff team, they're fun to watch. Like, I think if you're a Knicks fan, you're feeling really good about this team. Because, to be honest, they got better. So I don't think there's anything else you can ask for with this team because they did everything that you would want. So yeah, this Knicks team is going to be really interesting to watch next season. I'm really excited to see what they do next season because they were fun to watch last year, no doubt about it. The Garden was lit. So to see how much better they can be, that's going to be something that I'm really interested in watching. So yeah, this Knicks team is going to be fun to watch, that's for sure. Alright, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you think about this Knicks team. I'm really curious to hear what you guys think about this team and what their ceiling is. If you haven't already, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and also turn on your notifications so you don't miss an upload. And that's basically it. Thank you guys so much for the love on the last video. Holy shit, like 2,000 views. The subscriber rate has just shot up. So if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for subscribing and watching my videos. I hope you can spread the word out too. But yeah, that's it. I'm glad that video did really well. That's awesome. But yeah, that's basically it. Thank you guys, as always, for your continuous support, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.